Hey everyone, I thought today we would learn the skills that are required to make our very own homemade chicken soup. Hey, it's Dora from flippinghousesandpancakes.com, and today I am going to make some chicken soup with you. This is an episode of Foundations, building cooking skills one recipe at a time. Homemade chicken soup today, guys. It is a Friday. It's actually, there's a little bit of background noise. You're hearing my generator. We've got a storm coming through and we lost power this morning, but the good news is I've got the generator, we've got the lights running. My ovens don't work on the generator, but I have a gas cooktop, so we can still make our chicken soup. So that's good. We're gonna start with a pot of water. I have a pot of water on my stove already, and I took my chicken, rinsed it off, no skin on the chicken. Right now I have chicken drumsticks, but you can use thighs. You can use chicken breast too if you want, but keep in mind that that chicken breast will get really dried out and it just doesn't provide as much flavor as chicken on the bone, okay? So you can use a whole chicken, you can use chicken breast on a bone if you want. Chicken on the bone is gonna give you the best flavor. If you want, you could also just use chicken bones, wrap them in one of those nice soup bags, if you've ever seen those mesh soup bags, and you're good to go. All right, so the next step we're gonna do, I've got my water and my chicken on the stove right now. It is starting to heat up. I don't have a lot of water in my pot. I have a big pot like this. I have about this much water and chicken in it, and I will slowly add water as I go. You can start it with a whole pot of water if you want, but first of all, I don't know how many, I don't know how much room my vegetables will take, so I like to not put too much water in at first. And also, it just takes it a lot longer to start cooking that chicken because it takes a lot longer for a big pot of water to boil. So, water, about this much, and chicken. Remember, I have a big pot, so we're good. You can make this in a smaller pot as well. I just like to make a lot of soup at once so I don't have to make it every week. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is take an onion. And this is very important. You need an onion in your chicken soup because it's chicken soup. You have to have onion, guys. Onion, carrot, celery, those are all important in pretty much any soup. I'll throw that out right there. I do have a trash can right there. All right, let me rinse this off. I like to rinse my vegetables, especially after I cut through any exterior part. I cut my onion in half. You don't have to. You can definitely cut it into quarters. If you want to chop up your onion, you can. But I like to cut my onion in half because I just realized I didn't bring my ingredients over. Because it's a weird family thing. But this is how my mother taught me and how my grandmother taught her and how her mother taught her. Is to measure out my salt on my onion halves. Make it like a nice big pile. It seems to work. Seems to get enough salt in my soup. I'm just gonna go over there and dump it in my soup. I take my onion half, I pour my salt on it. This is clearly measured very meticulously, guys. Make a nice pile of salt and I'm gonna dump it in my soup. All right, it looks like it's time to do the rest of the vegetables now. Okay guys, I have rinsed this celery. I've started and I've trimmed the edges. I'm starting to cut it up, slice it down the middle of each stalk of celery. Okay, and we are going to start cutting it up to put it in our soup. Now, what you need to remember is that most soups, whether it's chicken soup or vegetable soup, most soups have onions, carrots, and celery in them. Not tomato. I've already repeatedly said tomato and had to start over on this video. Anyhow, most soups have celery, carrot, and onion. Occasionally you will leave out the celery or the carrot, depending on the soup. But chicken soup, you definitely want the onion and the celery and the carrot. So I had 3 stalks of celery here, 3 pieces of celery, not the whole stalk, okay? I'm just gonna move that to the side because we're gonna put that all in the pot in a little bit. Okay, so then the next thing I have in my chicken soup is turnips. Now you could also use rutabagas. Rutabagas are bigger, so if I was using rutabaga instead of turnip, I would use only one. They're also a little bit sweeter. But my classic recipe involves turnip. Okay, this is a recipe that was passed down to me from my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother, whom I'm named after, so there you go. Okay, so I've got the one turnip. I'm going to do a second turnip because it's a really big pot. If you have a regular size pot, one turnip is going to be enough. You want to have room for the soup as well, not just the vegetable. Okay. We will peel the turnips. Okay. And we'll dice them up. Now, I know people will also put like whole turnips in, whole vegetables in their soup. I like to cut mine. I feel like I get more flavor out of them if they've been cut, but you can do it either way. I also like to have pieces of those vegetables in my soup when I'm eating it, so if it's cut up, that's also simpler. I'm just going to push it to the side when it's ready, so we can add all the vegetables at once. Maybe I'll add some of the bloopers from all my tomato statements at the end of the video. So make sure to watch all the way to the end. If you're looking for this recipe and you want to have it written down, it's in my cookbook, Flipping Houses and Pancakes. You can find it on Amazon. Just type in Flipping Houses and Pancakes cookbook, or you can find it on my website, flippinghouseandpancakes.com. The recipe is in there for this. And the recipe is there also for the matzo balls that go perfectly with this chicken soup. I did do a video of that as well, so you can also watch the video, but you can find the recipe in my cookbook. Okay, parsnips, they look kind of like carrots, but they are not. They're a little less sweet, but they are perfect in chicken soup. So when you make chicken soup without the parsnip, it somehow just does not taste quite right. So I'm going to peel this parsnip. All right, there's one. These are already washed, so I don't have to worry about it. Usually I peel them and then I wash them, but I thought for today we'll do it this way. That one has a big end we'll get rid of. Okay, so again, we're going to cut this just like we would a carrot. So I've got some rounds there, and I'll cut that into quarters for the rest of it, so I don't end up with really giant pieces. I want my pieces to all be pretty similar in size. Okay. And then the second one. Sometimes I'll add zucchini to my soup. I'm not doing it this week. I have also been known to add sweet potato to my soup. That makes it a little sweeter and gives it a little different color. But this week I'm just going super traditional, straight up chicken soup. And when I'm done with my chicken soup, I will have chicken left, and I'll tell you some of the fun things I do with that. All right, now the only other thing I have is carrots, and yes, I forgot to buy big carrots, so we have baby carrots today. Baby carrots are the same thing as big carrots. You don't have to worry about that, they just come in smaller pieces. And I'm just gonna cut what wouldn't be like 2 or 3 carrots worth of carrot. If you like more carrot in your soup, then by all means, do more carrot in your soup. Not a problem. Okay, so I'm going to cut up a bunch of these carrots, and we are going to get ready, add them all. A big pile of vegetables, and maybe I should have brought a bowl. It's okay. And again, if you really wanted to, you could just dump pre-sliced carrots into your soup, or even just these whole baby carrots if you don't mind having big pieces. It's not a problem as long as you're cool with eating it that way, then it works. All right, we are gonna switch over to my pot so you can see what happens next. So I brought all my vegetables here. You see my water and my chicken are definitely heating up. My onions in there already also. We're gonna put all of these veggies right into my soup pot. Okay. I'm gonna start cooking this. It's gonna be delicious. I would also normally have my fan on above my soup pot to kind of get rid of some of that steam, except for the part where my microwave doesn't work on my generator either. All right. We don't have a lot more steps. This chicken soup is almost ready. And by almost ready, I mean it needs several hours to cook, but we're almost done with our part. You see, I've got the water in there, the chicken in there, all my vegetables are in my pot. I'm gonna actually add more water so I can bring it all the way up to about here, and we'll bring the water back up to boil. All right, my soup pot is nice and filled up. I've got my vegetables all floating at the top. We are going to let this boil uncovered, come up to a boil, and then you'll see we're gonna start to skim off some of the fat and yuckiness that comes up, that'll float up to the top. I'll show you while I'm doing it so you know what I'm talking about. I don't cover it at this stage simply because for some reason when I cover it, all that fat and stuff just gets absorbed into the whole soup and doesn't float to the top. So we're gonna leave it uncovered or mostly uncovered until it's time to skim. Then we'll skim the soup, then we'll cover it. So we'll come back when my soup is boiling. All right, so you can see that the soup is at a rolling boil, and look at all the stuff that I'm going to scrape off the top of it. You don't want this in your soup. You're gonna skim your soup, do it gently off the top. You're gonna scoop it all out. I just put it in a cup. Later I'll probably drop it into a Ziploc baggie and throw it away. But all this fat and gunk that's coming up, we're gonna clear this out so we have a nice, delicious soup later. Look at that. Okay, I have skimmed my soup several times now. So we are going to add some dill. Now this is dry dill. You can definitely use fresh dill. I do that when I have fresh dill, but I didn't have any of that today. So put some dill in my soup, and now I'm actually going to cover it and let it simmer covered for several hours, at least 3. 5's better. Okay, we're gonna let it simmer. Just pay attention so your pot doesn't overflow, and pay attention in case you need to add a little extra water. And when we're done, we'll have a delicious chicken soup. It has been several hours. My soup has been boiling away. I even had to add a bunch of water to it because it had gotten really low, all that steam evaporating. Remember, I did keep it covered while it was cooking, but there's still some steam that gets out. And now it's done. A beautiful, delicious bowl of golden chicken soup. Just perfect and ready for Friday night dinner. If you enjoyed learning how to make chicken soup from scratch and building your cooking skills, then don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications so you find out every time I upload a new video. And don't forget, you can get this recipe and the recipe for the matzo balls in my cookbook. You can find that on Amazon. Just type Flipping Houses and Pancakes Cookbook. You can find it on my website, flippinghouseandpancakes.com. Look at this delicious soup. There are occasions where you leave out the onion, not the onion. Most soups require onion, tomato, and celery. All right, time to work on our other vegetables. I've washed some celery here. Remember, most soups use tomato, celery. Guys, I've said that 3 times already. I give up. I'm just gonna keep going. Most soups require. Have you ever had a day like that? It was probably today. Okay, onion, celery, and carrots. Have you got that? All right, I'm gonna stop it. Okay, I have already washed the celery and I've cut the edges off, and we are gonna get this cut up for our soup. Now remember, most soups that you make, whether it's chicken soup or vegetable soup, doesn't really matter. Most soups will have a tomato. No tomato. Okay.